and welcome once again to another episode of Internet Traffic Kings. I'm the big Fabu, John Fondy, and I'm broadcasting right here on the campus of UNLV. As you can see in Las Vegas, things are a little slow here. We'll talk about that here in a minute as well. But the great thing about it is we want to let you guys know that this is a non-advertiser supported show. So that means that we really count on you guys to check us out on the different platforms, internettraffickings.com. Of course, we certainly want you to listen to us on Spotify, go to our YouTube site. We're getting great traffic on the YouTube site. And then, of course, Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating if you wouldn't mind. That's going to help us out. Leave a comment, and we maybe could use those comments on the air from time to time as well. And leave us a note on the website if you've got some questions that you want the ClickFather to answer. Of course, without any further ado, he's uniquely adorned with some great information, Internet Traffic King swag. And I'm talking about the ClickFather. We're talking about Kevin DiVincenzi. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, John.
Anyway, so you got the shirt going on.
Got the shirt, got the hat.
Going on.
Good to go.
And these are probably going to be some type of a collector's item at some particular time. So, make sure that you watch for the great thing about it is we get a hat, we get a T-shirt, we get a gold watch, all from the compliments of the ClickFather.
That's it. There you go.
So that's you're a great guy to work.
How's your gold watch, John? Is your wrist turned green yet?
Yeah, but the time is only right twice a day.
Oh, got it. Well, if you get a rash, you just put some topical on it. You'll be good.
That's right. It's true. So, hey, Kevin, we're into show number 17 right now, and boy, it seems like the time has gone fast. But not only are the guests great, they just seem to be getting better and better, and the comments that we're getting from people just by the views that we're taking and the comments are given, they've really, in fact, in the show last week, one of our questions actually came in with a compliment that they complimented on how great these guests were and what kind of subject matter that we have, and it seems like it's always topical. You're absolutely right.
That's why we're doing it.
And so let's keep doing that. So things any different in California at all?
No, I'm actually flying to Reno tomorrow. That should be interesting. First time I'm flying in 5 months, 6 months. Since I went to Canada, so about 5 months. Mm-hmm. But no, everything's still pretty much shut down, and we'll see what happens. It's just the way the world is.
Are you gonna fly Southwest?
No, I'm not flying Southwest. I'm flying United actually, but very small plane out of LAX. So
yeah. Well, it's going to take you longer to get in and out of LAX than it will for the whole flight. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, the flight's very quick. I mean, I wish they had Jet Suite X like they have into Vegas, because that's really easy and really a lot better as far as having to navigate through LAX and everything else. But it is what it is. It's not. I'm going on business, not pleasure. So. Well,
Kevin, we talked a little bit about this as a non-ad supported show, and the information you give out. Really, it's like getting $1,000 an hour worth of information from not only you but our guests as well. And what a gift in the times that we're going through right now to take the time out of your schedule to get the guests and come on the show. And I know it's greatly appreciated. And thanks for letting me hang around with you guys as well.
Absolutely.
So, Kevin, if you feel that things are getting a little bit hotter, things are heating up a little bit, you kind of know where I'm going with this, of course.
Yeah. Questions, go for it.
So we're going to put you on the hot seat, and we take questions. Kevin doesn't know what these questions are, and so we kind of throw them at him, and he kind of bats them out of the sky with some great answers, and we put him right on the spot. So we're going to do that one more time. And of course, we get questions that come in from all over the United States, all over the world for that matter as well. And so we're going to start now with a little trip to Phoenix, Arizona. And Trina asked this question. This was topical not too long ago when we had Rex Media on as well. And
Rex Direct, yeah.
And this was, she says, it seems like you've been working from home for quite some time now with the kids. How do you manage it? I've had to now work from home since March, and it's been hell. So she's looking for some help. So let's help her out.
It's a really good one. I mean, you've seen my 6-year-old pop in and out of the podcast at times. It's one of those things you have to balance your work life and your home life. I'm fortunate where my second home in California, I work out of a casita, so a guest house, which is separate from the main house. Although I can still hear the happenings inside the house and, kids screaming or what have you. I do have that separation. I think it is very important to separate. And you spoke about Janine. Janine said the same thing, right? She dedicates a room in her house, which is her office, and she doesn't even go in there on weekends, but that is where she goes to work, and it's separate from everything else in the house. It sounds like her name was Trina, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, it sounds like what Trina's dealing with is not understanding the separation, so that, if you're trying to answer emails while bouncing a kid on your lap and cooking dinner at the same time, it just doesn't work. We do see it with certain people we're dealing with that are now working from home where, they'll answer offhandedly, or they'll be irate. And then, I'll text my coworkers and say, hey, she's probably just cooking dinner, or she's probably just has the kids right now, because, it's a totally different dynamic. And some people haven't figured it out yet.
Sure. So
just make that balance just like you would when you leave the house. A friend of mine in the industry told me years ago, a gentleman out of Las Vegas, that every day he worked from home his whole career. And he said every day he would literally put on a suit and tie, walk up to kiss his kids and say, Daddy's going to work now, and then walk upstairs to his office in the house, and they knew not to bother him. And then at lunchtime, he'd come back down, Daddy's home from lunch, from work for lunch, and then have lunch and then go back up to work. And he had that transition where he was literally going off to work, even though it was the same place. The company called HyperTarget, I watched an interview with a gentleman named Evan, and he actually converted his whole garage and locked his door where they can't get in. He's got to go the outside of the house to get into his garage, which is now his office, so he can't be disturbed. So all these different little things to separate your work from your home life. I think it is important. It's
a good work ethic, and it's also kind of, kind of gives a little structure for the kids and the distractions.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely.
In fact, I've been in the news business, the news broadcasting business for practically my whole life, but I don't listen to news on the weekends. And so I offer myself, that luxury of listening to
news. You should not listen to news at all.
Yep. And so
you have a much happier life.
I can decipher what is good news, what is improper news. That's probably the safest way to put it. And a lot of people can't discern that, or they don't know.
But with technology now, John, between like the Citizen app and the Nextdoor app and all these different apps that are out there, if you just enable those on your phone, you'll get anything that is relevant to you without all the media shit that comes with it. Meaning that, there's a car accident down the block, you'll get a notification along with all your neighbors, or there's an advisory or what have you. I think the challenge with mainstream media is all the junk that comes with it. You know what I mean? That's why I don't watch the news. I just don't want to hear all the shit.
Yep, that is true. So kind of moving on here a little bit, we are now going to go to Redondo Beach, just right down PCH from you. And this is from Jason. And Jason says he does very well on Google ads, but he wants to venture into Bing and Verizon paid media. What are your thoughts on those two platforms?
We buy Bing and also Verizon. The challenges that we faced internally was getting our tracking to work. A lot of cross-domain tracking doesn't work properly with those systems. But they're great markets. You're going to pay a lot less than Google. So if things are already working well on Google, you would probably find success in Bing and Yahoo, Verizon Media. Yahoo is now Verizon Media. They combined. So I'd be all for it. I definitely think it's a good idea.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for jumping into the hot seat. So we're going to kind of keep things going here with the temperature here as we're going to bring on our first guest. And I'm really intrigued by our first guest because he's so diverse.
He's really is.
Done a myriad of different things throughout his career. And And now we're going to see if we can pin him down a little bit and ask him some questions. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this gentleman. He's a full-time pilot. He's a marketer of LumaByLaura.com, and he's a seasoned internet marketer. And of course, we're talking about Michael Gonzales. Hey, Michael.
Hey, John. How are you?
Oh, doing well. Thank you so much. I love your background. Looks great.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. So I had a chance to read your bio, and I had a chance to look at your website and stuff like that. Do you sleep at all?
Actually, I do. I mean, I just do a lot of this stuff as a hobby, but I do it pretty quickly, only because I've done it for so long. Mm-hmm. Like, I do all the web design. I do have a lot of outsourcing too. I can't do it all myself. So I got guys on Fiverr, on Upwork. Like, I got graphic design guys that do my imaging for me. I got ad copy coming, so it's cut and paste a lot of the times. But I do everything, the web design itself. I do that myself. I enjoy that. So, and I've taught myself over the years how to do it.
Well, you've been a seasoned pilot and supported us, and we thank you for that, for all the
thank
years
you.
Like that, and it means a lot for us to be able to do this show like this, and you're a big part of it, not only as a guest, but be with your diverse background and stuff. You could probably talk for days about the different things you do. What's the most important to you right now?
I think the most important thing for me is building a brand, and I would say that's probably my biggest regret, not starting a brand earlier. I know Kevin started his brand back in the day, and it's something you focus on like every day. That's what you wake up to versus, hey, I'm going to wake up to a shiny object. Not that I ever really chased any shiny objects in the past doing affiliate marketing, but even with even if you're an affiliate marketer, I think you should build your affiliate marketing brand, whatever it is. If it's a blog, then do the best you can on that blog. Right. If it's a website, do the best you possibly can. That's kind of the effort that I've been putting in, trying to build a brand. I think that's probably the best thing. Had someone hit me over the head with a sledgehammer several years ago and told me that, I would have said, well, why? I'd rather do this or that. That looks more interesting. But I think waking up every day and just focusing your efforts on your brand is probably the advice I would give myself about 10, 15 years ago, easily.
And your story is really interesting on LumaByLaura. Like, if you don't mind sharing, what inspired you to get into selling, beauty products and lip plumpers and things like that? Which, by the way, John, the lip plumper looks amazing on you today.
Thank you so much for noticing.
Yeah, I can see the gloss finish there. Yeah. Well, I was driving home from the airport. I just finished a trip, and I was coming home from the airport, and they were building a new Amazon store warehouse, big old warehouse right by the airport there in Jacksonville, Florida. And I said, man, I got to get into this Amazon thing. This is 2017. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to focus in on Amazon. And I like to do a lot of research ahead of time. So I looked to see what was like the biggest selling things on Amazon. And, hunting gear was pretty huge. And a lot of digital, like electronics, stuff like that is pretty huge. Women apparel is pretty huge. There's a high return rate, and cosmetics, so I said, well, I can probably do cosmetics. I don't know anything about cosmetics, but my sister does. So I called up my sister, and Mercedes, Kevin.
Yeah, for sure.
So I called her up. I said, hey, help me out with this thing. And then she started making the videos. I started doing all the web design, and that's how we got into it. We got a manufacturer for private label. And it's been a heck of a trip. It's just a heck of a learning curve from starting to today. It's just one of those constant battles, but I enjoy it. I enjoy selling stuff online. So it's just, it's fun.
Yeah, I noticed that your products, there's a little something in there for everybody, and I think that's good that you've really looked like you've researched it kind of from the inside out and the outside in, and I think that makes for a good cross section of product lines as well.
Yeah, I think that the biggest challenge is trying to figure out like where the best traffic sources are coming from. Like Facebook's working for me right now, works really well. Mm-hmm. The Google shopping, Bing shopping, kind of. And Kevin, you can attest to this since you are the click father. It's a challenge trying to find traffic sources that work, that get that positive ROI, and I have that right now, thankfully, with
That's great.
Facebook. Yeah. But, other traffic sources, I've tried other things, and it's a process of building the right funnel and just testing, and
Right.
build a funnel out, test the heck out of it.
But then the funnel's different for each traffic source, right? Because Facebook is more of a discovery. Oh, that looks really cool. Let me go down the path and look at that. Whereas Google search or Bing search is intent driven, where somebody's saying lip plumper or cosmetic, eye cream. They're actually actively searching for something. Same thing with Amazon, where they're actively searching for a type product. So those would be two different funnels. So it's understanding why a funnel will work great on Google and won't work well on somewhere else, on a display.
Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah, it is all top of the funnel scraping that you're trying to do.
Right.
But with Google, like you said, it is intent driven. Like they're looking for something instead of type of the obstruction advertising you're doing on Facebook, trying to take them off of Facebook and send them to your website.
Correct.
So, yeah, definitely different. And you're right. I mean, you got to build the funnel for the traffic system.
Right.
For the traffic source.
Traffic coming in. Yep.
Right.
Sure.
But you're also really willing to share your knowledge with people as well, and you've got opportunities out there where people can come to you and learn more, and they can be specific on the things that they want to learn and know. Let's go ahead and give us your website as well, so people can take a look at that website.
Well, my website, cloudalien.com, I started that. I'm a pilot, so I fly up in the clouds. Not that I'm an alien, but I just like the name. So I went with that a long time ago. And that's my main website. Then my e-com is LumaByLaura.com. And there happens not to be a Laura, by the way. I made it up. But I wanted a strong name. I wanted something that, like, Luma comes from illuminate, like illuminate your beauty, Luma. Mm-hmm. And then Laura comes from the laurel bay plant. And what it is, it's a sign of honor and integrity and vigor. So I said, you know what? I like that. I want it to be symbolic. So I said Luma by, a symbol, Laura. Now, of course, it's a girl's name too, but it's symbolic in this sense, So I just wanted something to, a name. So that's how I came up with that. So
yeah, I don't think Luma by Kevin would work out too well.
No.
Clicks by Kevin. Yes, that works.
Well, I initially had Luma by Lola, but I thought that it sounds a little skanky, so I'm not going to try that.
Really? So. A little too Barry Manilow-ish as well.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's right. So as we kind of round this out now, got any new ventures that you're going to be kind of moving into, or something that you want to move into, and maybe we can help you with that as well.
Well, I know Kevin is Mr. Pay-per-call marketer God, and I'm working on something right now, some SEO stuff, which I got into probably about, a year ago or so, and I'm trying to work things out right now where I'm kind of diving in. I also own the site 1-800-DEALS.com, and I'm going to start doing a lot of SEO work for that site.
Yes.
And that's kind of like my latest project, but I do want to sleep too, John. So it's like, I can only do so much. There's only 24 hours in a day. So
all the planes fly on autopilot anyway, right?
Yeah, right.
They do. Well, you'll get some sleep when we bring our next guest on, so don't worry about that as well.
Yeah.
But do you still fly?
Yeah. I'm flying every weekend essentially. I fly the weekends, and my trips start usually on a Friday or a Thursday, and it's usually 3 days, and I'm back home, and I'm back at the on the grind essentially.
How is that, without divulging obviously any information, but how has that changed with COVID? Like, are you getting to the airport later? Is it like, because I'm flying for the first time in 5 months tomorrow out to Reno.
Okay.
And I noticed like all the lounges are closed, and all the normal things that you could do even as a traveler are not available. So as a pilot, is there a lot less available now, or is it a lot stricter? Do you tend to?
Well, a lot of the restaurants in the airports are closed, unfortunately, and they're having us wear a mask. So you go through what we call known crew member, or KCM. You go there, you show them your ID, and you walk through for pilots. But we're having to wear the mask all the way through up until we get into the cockpit. Then we take the mask off, and then you're fine. But it almost feels, Kevin, like you're going from like hospital ward to hospital ward right now.
Yeah.
And when you go out in town, it's the same thing. Everyone's wearing a mask.
I
everyone's
agree.
shielding themselves. It's
That's
just,
what I was talking about last episode. I mean, I had a lady yell at me. I was at the beach with my kids this weekend, and she was yelling at me why I didn't have a mask on while I was sitting there away from everybody else. I mean, just insanity. I understand, the supposed need for it, but it's nuts. Same thing with a restaurant, right? So you wear a mask to walk through the restaurant, but then you sit there and eat your meal an hour and a half without the mask. So I don't know.
I know. I get it. Yeah. And that's the same on the airplane. If you're drinking some water or, eating some chips, whatever, you can have your mask off and then.
Yeah, I just figured I'll just order like 15 cocktails for my hour flight and just line them up and be like, sorry, I can't wear my mask.
Or just put the straw through the mask. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I thought about that too. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's definitely different, man. I can't wait till we get over this hump and we're back to normal again. So.
Yeah, but what's normal going to look like though? Normal's never going to be the same, right? It's not.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, normal's going to be. People used to joke, and when I say people, like I've heard people make jokes of people in the Asian community wearing masks, and I'm talking for years, right? Like, primarily a lot of Asians would just wear masks. I think that's going to happen now throughout. You're going to see people even after this is over just wearing masks considerably.
I think
it's going to be
too.
a common thing. Absolutely. It's going to be a common thing where, call it 10% of the population will wear masks everywhere they go. And it'll be, not frowned upon by any means. It'll just be what people feel is a necessity. A point that a friend of mine made is, the worst thing about wearing a mask is you can't see the person smile. Which you really can't, right? It's very, very hard. You meet somebody, hey, Michael, how are you? You want to give them a smile, and instead you're all covered up. So,
I know it.
If you use the Luma products, they'll see that smile in your eyes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Luma eyes. Yeah,
the Luma eyes, right?
That's true.
Right. Or John, in your case, the crow's feet will just pop out and they'll know you're smiling.
I have to stay sharp when I'm dealing with Kevin, Michael, as you know, but we do have a good time in doing this, and we give out some great information. We're going to bring our next guest on. I'd like you to stick around for a minute or two if you can. We'd like to take one last roundtable shot around it, give some words of thought to our guests, maybe not necessarily words of that go along with your business, but things that you can speak from the heart with us. And speaking from the heart, here's a guy that's got a big heart, and he's big all the way around. Sits on his front porch, gives great information as well. And that's why we call him the big dog. And of course, we're talking about the big dog, Bennett Kelly from the internetlawcenter.net. Thanks so much, Bennett, for being on the show. I don't know if you've met Michael before, or if you guys know.
Nice to meet you, Michael.
Good to meet you.
Bennett has got some great topics going on. But speaking of great topics, Bennett, I just read a little bit of a report that you've been nominated for another LA Press Club award.
Yes, my law firm blog, Cyber Report, was nominated for the 10th time, and we're thrilled about that. For for best individual blog, partly because of a post we did on Devin Nunes's bizarre lawsuit against Twitter and a tweeting cow.
That's true. That's right.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Devin Nunes, but
I am.
He's a as well. Yes, his mother. He's a congressman from California. He was when Republicans were controlled, he was head of the Intelligence Committee. And he's been lampooned on Twitter by an account, Devin Nunes's cow, because he's from an agricultural area, but really doesn't do much in agriculture. And then from Devin Nunes's mother is another account. And it's just a bizarre lawsuit where he tries to sue basically Twitter and the accounts for insulting him when it's protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things we've talked about on the previous show is that we're just seeing a lot of impropriety taking place out there, a lot of crime, a lot of hacking going on, a lot of people doing stuff. I don't know whether it's because they can, or they're bored, or they need to make extra money. And we're at a point now when it just seems like people are going to take advantage of any opportunity. Are you seeing that yourself, Bennett?
I am. I mean, there are talks about increases in cybercrime. I think that's also because people recognize that if in the work from home environment, it might be easier. But I have a saying that the criminal mind is not a compliment. These aren't the smartest people, and they make bad choices, and so we're seeing that played out in all over the place. And the day we're taping this, we're just hearing this strange report of a litigant who just killed a judge's son and shot her husband. So, I mean, it's just strange times we're in. People under a lot of pressure, and this is what happens.
Yeah, that's we're seeing a lot of talk about inside jobs taking place, and the one you're talking about was a guy wearing a FedEx uniform and stuff.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So it was that you got to think to yourself, well, how do you get a hold of a FedEx uniform? But I guess what we're going through now, people are desperate. They'll do just anything, and such. And we talk about the news. I've been a newscaster for 40 years, and a lot of times, there's news out there that's just heartbreaking, and we're seeing a lot more of that heartbreaking news and stuff. And this is why a lot of people are leaning on you, Bennett, because you're getting them out of some scrapes and keeping them safe and sound, if you will.
Thank you. There is, if you want a brighter side of the story, I don't know if you've seen Dr. Anthony Fauci. When he testifies or in public appearances, he wears a Washington Nationals mask. Mm-hmm. And they just announced today that he's going to throw out the first pitch on opening day this week. So,
oh, really?
A little reward for a super fan.
Well, that's good. So a lot of changes going on in Washington as well. And I think we're going to see more, and not to be surprised, and so we just kind of make sure that you keep us up on what's taking place. Anything new that you're working on out there, Bennett?
Well, the big thing, everything got thrown up in the air for a lot of us in this space on Thursday morning when the European Court of Justice invalidated the US-EU Privacy Shield. And it's an interesting story. There's a 33-year-old guy named Max Schrems, and this is the second time he's beat Facebook at the European Court of Justice. The last time they had threw out the safe harbor agreement that had been in place. And basically, since the early days of the internet, we've had some structure where, pursuant to an agreement between the US and the EU, where you could transfer data from Europe to the US, and within the confines of their privacy laws. And so Schrems has now invalidated both of those. And a large part of it is due to the revelations made by Anthony Snowden, and the surveillance that's going on has caused a great deal of distrust in Europe over our privacy laws. So there's still ways you can transfer data, but it just makes it a lot more harder. And it's going to put a lot more scrutiny on U.S. privacy laws and efforts to possibly strengthen them so we can work with Europe better.
So we've talked in the past about using other people's information, other people's data, and stuff like that. And I think it just
I do that all the time with your credit card, John.
That's right. so that's where all that lingerie is coming from.
That's it.
As well. So, but anyway, that I think that we're kind of back in it now. As you can see behind me, the streets of Vegas, and we were in phase 2, and now we're back to phase 1. And it's not for people not wanting to come to Vegas, Bennett. There's lines outside the casinos in here, and a lot of restrictions on it. But they've got extra money to spend. They're not working as well, and so they're coming here to Vegas. And so we're keeping an eye on some of the budget cuts and things of that nature, and more of that some of the businesses that are struggling out here as well. And so we always encourage people to try to reinvent themselves, and Michael has done that several times on several different occasions and stuff. So we can use him as an example of how to kind of stay relevant and stay topical as well. So Bennett, as we come up in our future shows and stuff, tell us a couple of things you're going to keep an eye on for us.
Well, I mean, obviously this is a developing story, the safe harbor issue, and how will data transfer from Europe. Another story that we're following is going to be the fallout from this Twitter hack and the implementation of the enforcement of the California privacy law. And just new last week, California's had this battle with the gig economy companies over who is and who is not an employee. The Massachusetts has gone after them as well, claiming that Uber and Lyft drivers are employees and should be treated this way.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, as we kind of get ready to kind of close out this show, Michael, we're going to go to you now, and if you could tell us something that we should know and something that we need to know.
I think what you should know is that the internet is evolving. I mean, you can see it with TikTok. Like, who would have thought that would happen? You know, something.
I'm buying TikTok ads. Yeah,
I know you're buying TikTok ads. My daughter does TikTok almost every day. You know, she's doing her dances and stuff. So, I mean, there's so many things that are happening right now with the internet. Just continually evolves. You know, things are happening, and you either keep your finger on the pulse like the ClickFather does all the time, or it just kind of goes right by you. You know, I think the other thing, what you should know, was that what it was? Shouldn't know.
That you need to know, something that you need
that you need to know. I think back to the brand. If you're just starting out, you're a newbie, don't go scatterbrains. Stay focused. You know, bring it here in the center and stay on the ball. Stay focused on what you're doing, and don't chase shiny objects. Just go straight ahead and work on your brand, on you, on your blog, on your business, and you'll be more successful that way.
Good stuff. Good luck on the SEO as well. Look forward to that, and love to have you check in from us from time to time.
Sure.
The big dog, woof woof. Tell us something that we should know and something that we absolutely need to know.
Sure. Well, first, what you should know is that this is a good time to look at your website, as you were just saying, particularly from a client's compliance perspective. Look at your privacy policy, your site terms, and as we mentioned on the last show, look at whether or not it's ADA compliant. So that's something you should know. What you need to know, and this is more of a personal rant, is the state bar. Lawyers take the bar exam at the end of July, and a number of states are actually going to move forward with in-person tests, and which has a lot of people alarmed, that particularly since some of those states are in the highest COVID areas. So hopefully, they'll work something out so it's done safely. But a lot of people are concerned about that.
Well, good efforts.
Interesting.
Okay, good work. Thanks, Doug. Also Oof. Now, Kevin, coming to you again, coming around the horn.
Yeah, what you should know, furthering what Michael had said in regards to TikTok and all the other traffic platforms, TikTok actually now does let you buy ads, even as a small agency, $50, $100 per ads. You can start testing the traffic. And what you need to know is, I'm going to use an analogy somebody gave me when I first started in the business. There's a bunch of gold coins falling from the sky, and you have these two little cups. So the way you make money in online is you have to position those cups perfectly to catch those gold coins. So it's just finding the right opportunities and leveraging yourself so that you can take advantage of those.
And I think not be afraid. I mean, not be afraid to try something new and something different. And
well, you have to keep evolving. Michael, I'm sure you've changed even your LumaByLaura brand over and over again, or even being a pilot, you've got to change path, right? You've got to change path from
all the time.
You can't just have one path. Actually, being a pilot probably helps you in your marketing because you know how to quickly pivot, quickly divert, and
right.
I would think that's a huge plus.
Well, good stuff. And as we want to thank Michael Gonzales for being with us today. I want to thank the big dog, Bennett Kelly, and of course the Click Father, as always, getting
Pleasure.
great guests out there. I want to remind our audience that this is a non-ad supported show. So it's kind of Kevin's gift to you. And you can support us by going to internettraffickings.com, or you can give us a 5-star rating, as Bennett is so happily reminding us of, on Apple Podcasts, as well as see us on Spotify. The YouTube channel, just going great guns. Please subscribe to that and give us your support by bringing your friends and your coworkers on the show as well. And thanks to Tabasco and the team back there in Florida. We're seeing a lot of other platforms as well. And so on behalf of all of us here at Internet Traffic Kings, broadcasting from the campus of UNLV here in Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm John Fondy, the Big Fabu. We'd love to have you come back, and we'll see you on the next episode of Internet Traffic Kings.